Hey guys, welcome back to Math from My Desk. I'll be answering on question 4 from the AP Calculus BC and AB 2024 FRQ. So let me go ahead and start. So the graph of the differentiable function f shown for -6 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 7. So this graph here has a horizontal tangent and x equals -2 and is linear for 0 is less than or equal to x or is less than or equal to 7. Let R be the region in the second quadrant bounded by the graph of f, the vertical line x equals -6 and the x and y axes, region R. So this region over here has an area of 12. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. The function g is defined by g of x equals the integral from 0 to x of f of c dt. Find the value of g of -6, g of 4, and g of 6. So let's go ahead and start. So to find g of -6, we're going to take the, we're going to take the negative integral from from -6 to 0 of f of t dt, which we find to be -6 to 0. Oh, that's actually given to us, so it's 12. But let's not forget we have negative sign here, so -12. Now, g of 4, that's going to be equal to the integral from 0 to 4 of f of t dt, which I find to be 0 to 4. That looks like a right triangle, so let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And we have 1, 2, so 4 times 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And now g of 6. G of 6 is equal to the integral from 0 to 6 f of t dt, which is equal to, so we're going here, so we have this 4 here, then we have 1, 2, 1, divided by 2 is 1, so 4 minus 1, that should be 3. So because this area is 1, and since it's under the x-axis, we're going to have 4 minus 1, which is just 3. Okay, that's it for part A. Let's move on to part B. So for the function g defined in part A, which if I recall correctly, that's going to be g of x is equal to the integral from 0 to x f of t dt. Find all values of x in the interval 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 6, at which the graph of g has a critical point, and give a reason for your answer. So, okay, let's see. Critical points. I'm going to write critical point at g prime of x is equal to 0. And we know g prime of x is equal to f of x by fundamental theorem of calculus. So then if I set f of x is equal to 0, when is f of x 0? Here, at 4. So f of x is 0 at x equals 4. And I would circle x equals 4. And I would say this should be enough for part B. Yeah, it looks like the only critical points in this interval. So if we move on to part C, the function h is defined by h of x equals the integral from -6 to x of f prime of t dt. Okay, so find the values of h of 6, h prime of 6, and h prime of 6. So let's go ahead and do just that. And we want to show that work, obviously. So hold on, let me just make some space. H of 6 is equal to the integral from -6 to 6 of f prime of t dt, which is equal to f of 6 minus f of -6, which is equal to, let's see if we can tell that from the graph. F of 6 is -1, minus f of -6 is 0.5. So -1 minus 0.5 is -1.5. You don't need to simplify that in the exam, by the way. But since this is an easy one to simplify, I might as well just do it. So now let's move on to h prime of 6. H prime of 6 is equal to, well, we can apply the fundamental theorem of calculus. H prime of 6 is equal to f prime of 6, where f prime of 6 is equal to, let's see, we want the slope at 6 here. And okay, it's a linear, like it's a straight line, so we can tell the slope. So we're going to pick 0.40, and we have 0.6, -1. I do, okay, so we have -1 minus 0 divided by 6 minus 4. So we get -1 over 2. So f prime of 0, which is equal, f prime of 6, which is equal to -1 over 2. And I don't know if I should show my work, but let me just point an arrow, big arrow all the way here. Now, if we move on to the third part here, h prime of 6, again, by the fundamental theorem of calculus, h prime of 6 is f prime of 6 And how would I be able to find that? That is a bit of a trickier one. So let's see. If I'm thinking here, we know the vertical line x equals -6. It's a vertical line. We know that, and it's at x equals Okay, that's irrelevant. -6 is completely irrelevant. So let's see. I'm thinking here with f prime prime represent. Wait, it wouldn't represent anything though, because we know h prime 6 is -1/2. It's essentially taking the derivative of -1/2. The derivative of -1/2 is 0. So yeah, I don't know why I thought so much of that for no reason. So 0, and if I do justification, I do derivative with respect to say derivative with respect to x of -1/2 is equal to 0. I think this should be enough. I'm not sure about the last part here, but this should make sense, and I would say this is my answer. All right. Thank you guys for watching.